Yes. So last week, I introduced the concept of woo-wee in Taoism, which literally means non-action, non-doingness. Or in other words, letting love lead the way. So we're going to continue on this theme of the power of letting go, surrendering into oneness. And let us first define oneness, or attempt to, because it's one of the biggest concepts that is one of the basis of our principles here. Oneness. The idea that there is one life, one mind, one energy, and that we are all an expression of it. Oneness is this idea that there is one life that is having its way in, as, and through each of us. And therefore, oneness means that, as we say every Sunday, we are a reflection of one another. So this is where it can get a little tricky, because it's so easy to sit here and be like, I am one with the universe, the cosmic isness, the stardust, the infinite potential lives within me, and how good that feels. And then we go into the world, and we meet other people, and we forget that they too are that expression of the one infinite cosmic, infinite potential of love, of joy. And we begin to connect more with our ego and identify with who we are as a personality, and can then begin to believe the lie of separation. That we are therefore separate from someone else and separate from the divine. And this lie of separation is so tempting, because the ego mind would have us believe that who we are is right? Because we live life from our own perspective and experience unless we choose to open our perspective, to open our heart, and to see each and every one as the beloved. Our experience can get really narrow, and then we can start to believe that we are our personality, that we are our desires and our preferences, and that there is truly one right way to be a human, and it must be our way and what those around us believe is the right way. So we open up to this concept of woo-wee to allow us to remember that we are truly living in harmony with the natural way of the universe. And instead of trying to force our individual will upon life by controlling circumstances or trying to have things go a certain way as we expect they should or desire they would, woo-wee invites us to surrender, to let go of control, and to listen and connect with that inner wisdom that truly is, as some call it, our higher self or our divine self. But to be able to distinguish the inner wisdom from our ego desires is truly the work of a lifetime. That is the work of awakening. That is the work of surrendering and allowing. So I'm not here to say this is the 1, 2, 3 step way to wake up, to enlighten, to remember we are one. But I am here to point out some practices and some guidance that hopefully we can continue each day to bring more awareness into where we are actually living our lives, so that we can check in and surrender and open more to that infinite flow of the way, of the universe, of the divine. wow, the speaker, it sounded like it was raining just right there. That's interesting. All right. Something's wanting to come through. Yes. So our human tendency is to want to control various aspects of our lives, right? Our relationship, our work, control outcomes, our finances. And this desire to control, as much as our ego may tell us it is to allow us to be happy and bring peace, the exact opposite occurs. What happens is that it actually creates a dissonance from what is and what we think it should be, and therein lies the suffering. So it creates more stress and anxiety, as opposed to opening up to the true power of allowing life to flow through as an opportunity for growth. So let's look a little bit about what are some ways to identify when we are in this ego mindset. And again, I don't want the tendency to go to making our ego bad or wrong, because then we are also creating separation and just creating another internal enemy. Instead, how can we identify some of the patterns of the ego so that we can recognize when those are occurring as an opportunity to bring us back in alignment with the truth of the wholeness and the oneness, right? So, a very practical way may be looking at our daily to-do list. We might start the day and have an expectation that I'm going to get this, and this done. I'm going to go, this way to work and accomplish this and have this phone call, and it's going to go great. Then I'm going to come home and I'm going to clean my house and prepare a lovely dinner and invite a friend over for dinner. Boom, that's my day. And then we start upon our day with the best expectation, and something occurs. As I mentioned last week, maybe we hit traffic. Maybe the phone call we expected to have, the person totally forgot. And now, what to do in the moment? The pattern of the ego would have us say that that person is bad or wrong because they forgot the meeting. It would have us say, blame, right? Oh, why did this or that have to happen? And move us to a place of being the victim to life. And yet, surrendering and letting go of our expectations allows us to be truly in the flow and allows the divine order to move through us. Now, here's the paradox, y'all. Because I'm sure some of y'all are sitting there saying, but don't you also teach the power of expectation and intention, right? Don't you also teach this idea of, in the law of attraction, to start our day and to set out our intention and to expect everything will work out? Yes, and, right? So the lovely paradox is getting in touch with those subtleties of from where are we expecting? Are we attached to a certain outcome or the flow of the day or certain way something should go from our ego, our personality, our small self, right? And how you can look at this is like, okay, does this need to go a certain way in order for me to feel safe? Does this need to go a certain way for me to feel good? Am I expecting things to go a certain way because if they don't, I'm not okay? Or they're not okay, or something's wrong, right? That is one way, and that's the kind of letting go that I'm talking about, of those expectations. And when you surrender to the oneness, to the wholeness, to that I am presence, To me, that looks a little bit more like leaning into the qualities that you desire. So you can wake up and expect your day to go with ease and flow, with love, with peace, with joy, but then not attach what that looks like to any specific experience or interaction, right? You see that you're starting to get the distinction a little bit? So, with this example, we go through our day, and we're home, we're cleaning, we're preparing a meal, and the ego perspective may say, oh, I really am excited to have my friend over. I hope she really loves my house. I'm preparing this meal with love. I hope that she loves it as much as I do, and dare she not add more salt. And then our friend shows up, and little did we know that what is going on in her life is bringing her to a place that what she needs in that moment is the comfort of a friend. Perhaps she got news on the way over of something that is upsetting or breaking her heart. And I think all of us know that willingness, that ability to surrender, right? When a friend shows up and something occurred unexpected, we open our hearts, we open our door, and we let go of, is she going to compliment my dinner, to, what do you need? A hug, a glass of water, sit here, cry, tell me what's going on. We let our expectations go, and we surrender to the moment. That is the difference between having the expectation of things and controlling the way they must look in order to feel happy, satisfied, whatever it may be, or surrendering to the flow of the moment and just being that space of love, of grace, of whatever needs to occur to show up in that way for our friend. So, how can we begin to show up for ourselves in that way? Are we so attached to our agenda that even though our heart is pounding and the tears are welling up behind our eyes, we think, no, I got to get this done. I have a deadline, and I committed to this. Or will we be willing to embrace ourselves as we would a loving friend, drop our agenda, and sit in the stillness and allow ourselves to feel what we need to feel, to reach out, to call a friend, go for a walk, observe nature, and let that be our guide. So the power of surrender comes in letting go of the need to control outcomes, letting go of our attachments, and not just to the big things, but in these subtle moments of our expectations. And then trusting the universe, knowing that the universe is always guiding us and supporting us. How can we let love lead the way, even in uncertain times? To trust that everything is unfolding perfectly, even when we don't understand it from our current perspective or awareness. I can imagine each of us can recall a time in our life that in the moment we were very resistant and didn't understand why something was occurring. Yet with some time and space and distance, we can look back and see how that was for us. The ego will always tell us that this moment isn't good enough. And so it will say, I hope the next will be better, so therefore I'm going to expect it to go this way, so I know that it will be better. Woo, way, woo, the way, lets us remember to trust in the flow and to be spontaneous, to drop our expectations, to stop trying to get anything from out there, from the world, from life, and instead be open to the flow and to give of ourselves fully, giving over to the power of the moment and giving a full yes to our life, living authentically. In the Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, that is our book of the month, it tells of his journey of identifying that voice in his head and then being able to meditate and become present and then simply say yes to what shows up and where he is guided. And there are many examples in there of the resistance. And yet, this surrender experiment that he invites us all to is to be present and to say yes to the opportunities that arise, to give ourselves fully and to surrender to the moment. The Chinese Taoist philosopher Zhuangzi offers this simple yet complex advice. Flow with whatever may happen and let your mind be free. Stay centered by accepting whatever you are doing. This is the ultimate. So it comes back to presence and mindfulness. When we become present, we open up to the opportunities of the infinite universe. And we begin to lean into the present moment and say yes, and to trust that everything is unfolding perfectly for us, we can recognize the abundant nature of life within and around us and trust that love is leading the way. So, what are some examples of mindfulness practices? I'm throwing it open to you. What's a way that you practice being present, mindfulness, in your daily life? Any suggestions? Being the Christ. Seeing, yes. Seeing, yeah. So being present with someone else and seeing that Christ energy, that Buddha energy, that oneness, that beloved nature of wholeness in the other. Being present with someone. That's a way to practice mindfulness, yeah. Instead of being in our head about our agenda or what we want to say, just being present and seeing the other as the beloved.
The kids are doing journaling every Sunday.
Yeah.
Special journals.
Journaling, yeah. Mm-hmm. Journaling is a way to process our thoughts and to reveal, perhaps, what is actually going on in a deeper level. Yeah, what else?
Sometimes when I start to kind of either go this way or that, what I do is to say, what is today?
What is today?
Today is Sunday the 19th. Where are you?
Yes. Yes.
It's so helpful.
Yes. So just dropping in, if you notice our thoughts going this and our energy going this and that and the other, just to drop in, what is today? Just state the day. Be in the now. Yes.
Realizing my own Christ consciousness.
Yes, and realizing our own Christ consciousness. Yeah. Yeah, what else?
I hyper-focus while I cook.
Yeah, so cooking is a practice just to be completely in the moment. And what a fun practice, like any creative process, to be in that flow, right? Of, I feel like a little bit of this and a pinch of that, and this might be good. I never thought of this ingredient before. Or with the painting, this color with this color, let me blend this, right? So being in the moment, in the flow through cooking or the creative process, eating itself.
Say drinking cold water.
Drinking cold water, yeah. And I love dark chocolate. So being with a piece of dark chocolate can be a sacred practice, noticing how it melts, the texture, the flavor, all of that, right? Dropping in. A tea ceremony, yes. Yes. Rocks, holding special rocks, yes, and that tactile experience, tactile of being with the rocks, and focus on the breath, yes. Pulling weeds, yes. Gardening, anything in the nature. Yes, right. Pulling weeds, yes, and yet sometimes people may think, oh, that's an annoying chore, or resist the weed, or see it as something, oh, now I have to do this, and why is this ugly thing ruining my garden? Or, just like life, we can embrace the opportunity to be in the moment, get in the right mindset, get our hands in the dirt, and be one with pulling the weeds. Exactly. And the microbes in the dirt and the soil that is so enriching, when we engage with those microbes, our body needs them. And science shows us that it helps with depression. Yeah. So we know in this room is a wealth of knowledge, of practices, and the key is to be mindful enough to practice mindfulness. So that is our intention and our experiment this month. And we get to remind each other. So let us be a support to one another, to drop into this now moment, to practice mindfulness, and open up to allow that great power and presence and wisdom and love of the universe to inform our every action and word, thought and deed. There is power in letting go. So this week I invite you to notice what are some of those subtle ways that perhaps the ego mind is diverting your attention from what is real and true, and to practice mindfulness, to drop into the moment, to surrender any attachment to outcome or expectations, and simply be. Be open to the flow. Yes? All right. So let us take this into prayer. Taking a nice deep breath now to drop into this moment where we know and recognize that there is one life, one energy, one source back of all things, this divine presence that is love, that is peace, that is joy, that is harmony. This one life having its way in, as, and through us now, in, as, and through all life. So from this place of oneness, I speak this word now, knowing that right where I am is exactly where I need to be. I am willing to release any attachment to the outcome and to surrender and to allow that great infinite source of life to be known in, as, and through me. I choose this day to show up as the beloved and to see that in all I encounter. To surrender and to let go of my small self and open to the full potential and possibility of the infinite. How good it is to be here now and to know that truly right here, right now, there is nothing to do but simply be. And I choose to be. To be here now as love, as joy, as peace, And I'm so grateful for this now eternal moment to simply be. And with great gratitude, I release this word, knowing it is done, knowing it is so. And together we say, and so it is. Yes, yes, yes.